main thing that I do is that I help people either for themselves or for their businesses to get some breakthroughs. So that means that they move from like a really stuck state where they don't know what they want, or they know they recognise their potential but they don't know how exactly to put that into practice. So I take them right to the other side where they're clear about what they want, and either they've sorted it out or they just know how to go about doing it. And that can be really broad. It can be about things in themselves, it can be about planning, it can be about knowing what they want really clearly, and sometimes it's just about encouragement and confirmation of some things that they already sense or know, but they haven't quite got it together enough to make it happen. If there's one technique that I'm constantly using, and it's barely even a technique, it's really getting in tune, in touch with what it is that they need. Because if I can't do that, then I'm not providing a solution to their issue. So sometimes I'll do like a whole day's focused work with somebody, and that needs to be matching whatever need they've got. So if there's one technique that I'm using throughout that day, it's really listening to what they're saying, but not just at the level of words, it's really getting to understand. And also for them, it's often a similar process. They're getting to understand themselves better as well. And depending on what that sort of turns up, we may be at the level of organisation and planning and next step, or we may be at the level of, right, there's an issue here, we need to use a technique like NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, or an emotional thing. We might need to use something like EFT or emotional freedom techniques. We may go slightly into the more kind of personal mindset stuff, or it may be more business orientated. It just depends on what they need specifically. Sometimes it's people who don't know what they want, and that often leads to things like the lack of motivation or feeling a bit at sea, not knowing a clear direction. That's one thing. Another area, broadly speaking, is what you could call confidence. And the confidence can be in all sorts, it can manifest in all kinds of different forms. You know, it's often about, I can't get past this kind of comfort zone that I'm in. And that means people are kind of holding themselves back. And it's not just about confidence about, say, public speaking, it's more like an inner kind of confidence. That's a really common thing. Another thing that sometimes happens is that people are really quite stressed. They wouldn't necessarily call it stress, but they're kind of under pressure or they're out of balance. So it's very difficult for them to just work through things in the right kind of way. And sometimes there's a whole lot of work we need to do around efficiency, around reducing expectations, kind of lowering the bar so that I'm not constantly trying to outperform myself. And you know, it's putting so much stress and strain on me that actually it's kind of setting things out of balance. So those are three common areas that I would work with. It tends to be people who are prepared to, you know, look at themselves and make the changes they want to make. So it's either someone who's really wanting to move forward and really make a difference, or sometimes it's someone who just feels really stuck and they wouldn't necessarily approach somebody like me normally, but they just really sense that maybe their lack of confidence is stopping them from building a business or sorting themselves out, and they've gone, okay, I'm just going to have to find a solution, I'm going to go and speak to Sarah.